It's been almost 2 weeks since the Texas Education Agency took over the Houston Independent School District. The transition hasn't been very smooth. During last week's first board meeting, parents and teachers made it clear how they feel about the new powers that be. Well, damn. Let's talk about it. Joining me now, former HISD trustee, now state representative, Jolanda Jones, along with current elected school board member, Kathy Bluford Daniels. Glad to have you all here on the Factor. I know you're practicing calm Christian. But what did you say when they said you had to move on after people voted for you, elected you to make you a board member, and the state came in and said, we're going to decide everything? Democracy be damned.
Taxation without representation. And everybody that voted in these elections should be really ticked off, because it says that whoever you all voted for to represent you, the person you see at Sing On and at the gas station, at Fiesta, that you see in your community, that's who you elected. We actually feel the heartbeat and the pulse of the community. These people are not engaged in our community. And the question should be, where have y'all been? How many board meetings have you attended? How often did you reach out to the elected school board rep to work with them to try to find some solutions to the problem? We only, and let me say this because this is really, really important. People tend to forget. We've only been on the elected since 2020. 4 of us anyway. And then in 20 and 21, there was COVID. So we only had 1 year basically to right side the ship. And that's what we did. The district made a B, Wheatley made a 78 from a C to almost a B, and they're on course now to probably get a C and perhaps a B. So we've looked at the data, we followed the data, and tried to show them, make the improvements where necessary. There was a 5-year plan that we were working on, and certain board members, of course, did not necessarily support it. So
why don't you call their names?
There was a secondary plan submitted. And see, the way it is, when you look at the data, the information of the money, the resources were going to the west side. And so the far northeast and part of the South has not been supported with resources.
Poor minority district.
Poor minority district. And I was asked this the other day, why did I vote to continue the lawsuit? Well, I did because for the last 3.5 years, I've been talking about District 2. The schools that he's talking about, identifying the 29 schools, are in District 2. So that was the weakest link of everything in HISD. And in any organization, when you're trying to raise the floor and make improvements, you go wherever there's the weakest link. And so we got school board members talking about we gave away 5 years of to children. We didn't treat them right for 5 years. Well, hell, we ain't been there 5 years. She was there 5 years, but we hadn't been there 5 years. So what have you done?
Oh, let me be clear. They've cheated them out of more than 5 years. So I was on the board before Kathy came on the board. And those same board members put money in the West Side and in the magnet schools and refused to put money in District 4, which is the district that I was over. What district are you?
District 2.
In District 2. And even with Myrna, they don't put money in her district.
District
and
9.
Those are the districts that are struggling. And when you would show that we give way more money to your schools than you do, say, at my schools where I had no libraries.
Right.
Or I had no extracurricular activities. And they would be like, oh no, there's got to be money somewhere, but they kept money in their schools. And now those very people are consulting with educational agencies when they're the reason that HISD is gone, like Elizabeth Santos, Sue Dygard, Holly Villaseca. I mean, she's running for city council. Name them, I can't even remember all of them that were, I mean, I believe in calling names. So now these people, that's why we're here, because they would not vote to spend money in District 4, District 2, and District
9.
In District 9, they would not spend money in those districts.
That's true.
And that's the reason that they were taken over. And so I'm super frustrated because it's a fake board. All the things when they had the walking quorum when I was on the board, where they had the 5 board members who were meeting secretly to run HISD, that's what the board of managers are doing. They're actually not going to have public meetings, right? And then they were talking about HISD not having certified teachers. Well, Mike Miles, who was run away from Dallas, hasn't had his superintendent certification since 2018. But when you work in HISD, you can't have your certification to be a principal or a teacher waived. Yet he's asked for a waiver to Mike Morath, the guy who's over TEA. So they're bending rules for them, right? For people who have not been in HISD, I was on the board. I know none of the people that are on the board of managers. When I was there and we were struggling and we were asking people to please help us, they weren't there. I didn't see them when you were in, right? So I don't know where they came from. And I know that there were people who have been active in advocating for HISD when they had problems, who would come to the board meetings, who applied to be on the board of managers. And they did not put those people. Almost everybody on the board of managers, they are wealthy. Okay, most of the kids in HISD are poor. And a lot of the people on the board, their kids are in the magnet programs and the Vanguard programs and the programs where specially connected people's kids get to go. Their kids weren't like the struggling schools. So you have a different perspective when your kids are in schools that have all the resources. And then you think the schools that don't have resources must be doing something wrong, and that's why they're not educating kids.
Now, thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We have a lot of work to do at HISD, and of course we'll continue to follow up with both of you. Still ahead.